Welcome back to CityLine. With me right now, I have the most fabulous individual, and everything she touches, she infuses love into it. I'm talking about Miriam Barnett, who is the CEO of the YWCA of Pierce County. Welcome back, my friend.
Thank you so much. It's a joy to be here.
It's great to have you here. So I kind of want to get right into it because there's so much that we have to catch up on and talk about. But first, let's kind of give folks a refresher. With COVID-19, Miriam, are your services still being offered?
Yes, our services are very needed and are being offered. Our shelter is operating the same way it always has, and it's always full. We have changed some protocols in the shelter to keep people healthy, which are working. So that is great. And our 24/7 hotline is also available and answered by trained advocates 24/7, like I said. Our other programs have pivoted to be remote. So we are doing our legal program remotely, which is challenging, but working. Our clients are very grateful that we can still guide them, especially right now because the courts are changing how they operate daily. And it's hardening to navigate under the best of circumstances. It is super hard to navigate right now. So even for our advocates and our legal staff to keep up on how these changes are happening is huge. I was just reading more changes right before I got on this show from our legal director. So that's been very difficult, but very important. And then our counseling program, we were able to get a confidential, safe, HIPAA compliant platform to do our counseling program. So that is continuing as well. The only programs that aren't running in person are our support groups and our children's program for understandable reasons. You cannot social distance children easily, if at all. And our support groups are very large. And so we are providing some remote help one-on-one to clients that need it in the support groups. And also our children's program staff are creating weekly activities for clients in our shelter to do with their kids. And that's been really helpful. The parents are very grateful because it's a hard time for everybody.
You have covered all bases, it feels like. Have you seen an increase in your services during this pandemic?
So it's been very interesting, and we're keeping kind of tabs on other domestic violence agencies as well nationwide. And we're all pretty much experiencing the same thing, which is stay-at-home mandates, as we know, are the right thing to do, but they're not safe for domestic violence victims. And so it's harder to flee right now. It's harder even to make a phone call right now. So the phone calls we're getting, people are very desperate for help. They're very frantic about getting help because they probably know they have a limited time to be on that phone call. And then we're also seeing our hotline, 24/7 hotline is seeing quite an increase in calls in the middle of the night when the abuser is asleep. So that's another trend we're seeing that is new for us. And we're staffed 24/7 in the shelter, so it's not a problem at all. It's just something that, you know, became evident is a new trend right now.
So your staff, they're working remotely, and what are you hearing from your staff in terms of how that is going for them? I mean, when I think about getting a phone call in the middle of the night or the legal help I need, and I think about doing it out of my home and maybe not having a colleague to talk to, it begs the question, how are they doing?
So it's really been a challenge and a change that we've had to navigate. We rely on our Zoom account, and so we're checking in constantly as teams just for that reason, and not just work related, but also what are you doing for self-care? We have a wellness committee, and they're still planning things that we do for ourselves as well, which is very, very important. It's just as important when you're alone as it is when you're here in the building. And so we're taking a lot of careful consideration to make sure our staff that are working remotely are okay, and that we're checking in all the time. And what we're hearing from them about what clients are saying is, and I think this really helps them keep going, is clients are so grateful that they're getting help right now. You know, they're seeing a lot of dead ends out there when they're trying to navigate for resources. And so just the fact that our staff are getting back in touch with them and are able to continue serving them, it just provides so much gratitude. So that feeds your soul too. When you hear from a client about what difference you made for them, that keeps you going as well. And so that's been so important for our staff.
I love that.
Yeah.
So I want to kind of change gears because we want to talk about the YWCA's Luncheon. This event has been going on for 36 years. It is iconic in Tacoma. People start filling up tables January, February. You start seeing everything come out. You share with us how you have had to pivot this event, and then also where will the funds go? Because I see this amazing picture behind you.
Yeah. So it's been really hard and kind of heartbreaking to have to pivot. But once again, there's no other option. It just doesn't make sense to expect 600 people to want to come together to support us in one room. It wouldn't be, we focus on safety. That's what we do here at the YWCA. It would not be safe. So we have pivoted to an online fundraiser. Our event is, one of the things that's so important about it is it gives us an opportunity to educate the community about domestic violence. And there's always an opportunity to hear from our clients through a video. We haven't even been able to make a video with a client because of COVID. We were just about to do that. We had the meetings, it all scheduled to do the video. And it was right at the beginning of this, and the client didn't feel comfortable coming in, nor did we feel comfortable having her come in. So what we'll have is we'll be sending out an email, we'll be using social media, and we will have a link. And in that link, you can watch previous videos, which is great because even the one from 2 years ago that I watched recently, I forgot all about it. And I'm like, well, that was a good video. I remember the one last year a little bit better, but not everybody has even seen them. And you can see them in your own home when the sound is really great, which isn't always true in a big meeting hall. And so we are just going to pivot and have that event go virtual May 20th through 22nd. We're just giving ourselves a 3-day window to try to make that goal so that we can continue to use the funds to provide all of our services that we do. The best thing about the luncheon, other than that we get to see and educate the community, is that the funds are unrestricted. And that means they can go where we need them. Now, the building behind me is the affordable housing for homeless families that we're building. It's going to open in less than 250 days now. And there's a lot of noise. I had to shut my window because there's a lot of noise as they build behind me. That is a $23.2 million project using all separate funds. The luncheon doesn't go towards that building. It goes towards our free legal program, our free counseling program, our shelter, and all the other programs that we do. So very important funds. We typically raise 150 as a net after expenses for that at that event. And so our goal is very close to that this year. And I think we're going to make it.
I think you're going to make it as well.
Yeah.
So one of the things that this luncheon is known for is amazing keynote speakers. There has never been a weak link in the bunch when it comes to the keynote speakers. So can you tell me about who the keynote speaker was going to be, and if we'll have the opportunity to hear them speak in public or in the future?
Yeah, so I'll start with the last part of your question because it's the most exciting. So we have scheduled our luncheon for 2021, and it will be May 12th, 2021. So it's still a Wednesday. We're typically the fourth Wednesday in April. We weren't able to get that date. There's a lot of competition of rescheduling right now, and that's okay. But that's when we could get both the venue and our keynote speaker, which was our priority. So our keynote speaker for next year will be Robin Louise Snyder, and she's a researcher. Unlike a lot of our keynotes who have been past victims, and some have written books and some haven't, but that's been kind of typically our keynoter. Robin is a researcher, and she has spent her career researching domestic violence and the impacts. And the name of her book is No Visible Bruises: What You Don't Know About Domestic Violence Can Kill You. So that No Visible Bruises really addresses that for a lot of domestic violence victims, the abuser is either smart and not going to hit where bruises will show, or that's never even part of the scenario. There's so many other forms of abuse that are just as horrible. And so her book really focuses on following not just victims, but also she interviews abusers and their families. It's a completely fascinating read. And I think she will be an absolutely amazing keynote speaker. And I can't wait to hear her. It's going to just take a lot of patience to wait one more year.
Yeah, I'm writing down the book thinking, I'm getting this book.
It's fabulous. And I've read a lot of books about domestic violence, as you can imagine.
Yes.
And one of the things, she talks about why people don't just leave, that question, which is a very important question. She gives the exact answer I give about that. But the other question that she really worked around that I was very fascinated by, because it's a question I've never had answered, which is, you know, when a woman presses charges against her abuser and then recants, what's that about? And in her book, she explains through real life story that what that's about is more often than not, she's pressed charges because her abuser has been put in jail for the abuse. He bails out in short order. And now the reason she recants is actually because she's not ready to die that day. She wants to live for herself and her children. And she knows if she doesn't recant and say, I made it up, I wasn't telling the truth, all that she has the potential that she might die that day. And I never had thought about how dangerous that is when somebody bails out of jail so soon and they find out that you've pressed charges. You have to put it on you if you still want to live. How powerful is that to think about?
I'm sitting here just out of breath. I never thought of that, ever. It never occurred to me that the way to live is to not press charges.
That's right. That's exactly right. And that also took my breath away.
It just doesn't connect.
Right.
In these last few minutes, I want to find out how we can support the goal for the May 20 to 22nd luncheon. Tell us ways we can go about giving.
So like I said, we're going to follow our Facebook page, YWCA Pierce County, or we're going to do an e-blast. We're going to, every way we can, we're going to use the technology we have to get the word out. But during that 3 days, we are going to be doing our fundraiser, our virtual fundraiser, and our goal is $148,000 to raise. And one of the ways that is really helpful is to consider a monthly donation. Right now, we have over 200 monthly donors. And we have given them the opportunity to renew their pledges before our luncheon so that we can start having already begun to meet our goal. And through our monthly donators, we've already raised, and our sponsors, $60,000. So we're well on our way. So isn't that fabulous? So a monthly donation can be, $10 a month. It becomes a beautiful donation. Or our associate board, which is our younger board, started years ago what's called the 253 Club. And for $253 spread out throughout the year, which is about $21 a month, you can be a member of the 253 Club. And that's a wonderful opportunity as well. So any kind of donations are wonderful, one-time donations, but monthly donations really help sustain us. And you'll get an email from me at the end of the month sharing a story of the impact that your gift made. And so that's just one thing that we love to tell people and encourage people, that if they can, consider whatever you were planning to donate, plan to do it monthly. And we do all the work for you.
And as you and I have said before, that's the latte factor. I mean, that's something that you probably are not going to really miss if you think about it.
Right.
And the other side right now, with everything being so tenuous, what a beautiful way to give. Yes, right. Be able to look at your monthly budget and say, during this time, I'm still spending things wisely.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, that's helping my spirit. It's just to be able to support causes I care about right now and know that I'm making a difference at this very difficult time. And I'm spending less money, because I just can't do anything. So I can recycle that money and help other people.
Absolutely. This last minute, I want you just to share with us before we say goodbye. If I know someone that is being abused, what can I do for them?
The best advice I can give is to call our hotline, which is 24/7, or there are national hotlines too. The reason I give our number is because some of the waits on the national hotlines are very long because domestic violence is so prevalent right now. But our local hotline number is 253-383-2593. It's also prominently on our website, YWCA-piercecounty.org. And that number, like I said, is answered in our shelter 24/7 by trained advocates. And it's not just for victims, it's obviously for victims, but it's also for friends and family. If you're worried about someone and you just don't know what to do, call and have a chat with one of our staff members and we can help you. We can help people find resources. We can safety plan right there on the phone. There's so much we can do. We're all getting more used to that now anyway, but that's what our hotline has always done. It's always been available 24/7 for people who have questions and need help. We really encourage people to use it.
Miriam, thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to be with us and to talk about this luncheon and how we can make it another successful reality for you, and always leaving us with different ways to really understand the impact of domestic abuse upon our city. So, my dear, I ask that you and yours stay safe until I see you again in my kitchen.
Thank you so much, and I'll look forward to sharing our success.
All right, my dear. Well, we have much more to come on CityLine, so don't go away. We'll be right back.